We spend a lot of time on this show talking to people who have very interesting and creative backgrounds. And, sometimes when you are a performer, a person with a tremendous amount of creativity, we talk about people who are a triple threat. Some people are a multi threat. And yet, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to figure out your place, find your identity as a person and a performer. Well, today we're going to be chatting with somebody who has taken that journey, is taking that journey, and not only shares her story, but gives some very insightful, inspirational ideas about what it means to find your creative identity. So put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation because it's time for Coffee Breaks with Steve. Well, hello and welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve. I am Steve, and this is the show where we come together around our virtual coffee table each week and join the conversation to chat about interesting topics with amazing guests. If you are joining us for the first time today, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back and welcome to our brew crew. That's what we call this group of people who come together each week around this virtual space to be part of the conversation. It's great to be with you again. We were not here last Saturday, took a weekend off as we were traveling, spending some time with family and friends in another location for some very special things. And we're going to have a great conversation today. If you are joining us, please do take the time to say hello in the chat. And there's Carla. I see, by the way, Violin Elf that you're seeing there in the chat is our guest today, and you're going to meet her in a few minutes here. And just want to say welcome to you, Deanna. And Carla is here. Welcome. Do what they are doing and say hi. And when we do get to do our conversation with Violin Elf, make sure that you are participating in that, asking your questions, sharing your comments, sharing your perspectives. Hope everybody's doing well. We're well into spring now, which doesn't necessarily mean that the weather has completely turned around, although we are certainly seeing some spring-like weather here in Spokane, at least at the moment. In Spokane, they have what's called fall spring. And I think maybe by now we're into kind of mid-April. We typically now start to see a little more consistent spring weather, although it is not impossible that we could still get snowfall. But right now it's doing pretty good out there. What's it like where you are at? How are you doing this weekend? I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you're having a great weekend. We want to share a little bit of what is coming up in this week on our Sweet and Savory. Hi, Rick. Good to see you. Waiting to see if Shalann's going to tune in here. She's in the house. She literally is in the house. Shallann is actually here today. And so I'm kind of calling her out to see if she's going to all right, joining via YouTube today. That is perfectly fine. The charcuterie, there she is. All right, so yes, we're all in the house. Do make sure you say hi. I'm stalling here. I don't know why, but we're going to talk about the charcuterie, as Shallann calls it, our sweet and savory, and some things coming up. Hey, this is one that is some of you know that I'm a bit of a space and astronaut nerd, going all the way back to the early Mercury missions back in the early 1960s. I've always been glued to the TV whenever there's any kind of a space mission. And this last week, we are headed back to the moon. Artemis 2 launched this last week, and they are currently well on their way to the moon. 4 astronauts really going to, if everything goes according to plan, set some records with this. Because they're not going into an orbit, they're not landing on the moon, and they're not going into an orbit around the moon. They're going out to swing around the moon, what's called a free trajectory. and then come back to the Earth. But it's still several days of travel. Excuse me, my throat went, which means, of course, everybody drink. LOL nerd. Hi, Jerry. Jerry's out here too. I'm just saying hi to people who are tuning in. And yeah, so there are 4 astronauts, and I think part of what's cool about this is the fact that they are getting ready to set some specific records. And among those are the fact that there are 4 astronauts rather than 3 with the Apollo programs that went to the moon back in the late 60s and early 70s. 3 astronauts aboard. There are 4, which means it's going to be the largest single conveyance of people going out to and beyond the moon. If they do this as they're planning on it, their path past the moon to swing around will put them at the furthest point away from the Earth that any human beings have ever gone. Previous record, believe it or not, was Apollo 13, the mission that was supposed to land on the moon but had an accident on the way. Not that type of accident. They had an explosion that caused them to have to come back to Earth in an emergency situation. But as a result, they also did a swing around the moon, a free return trajectory, blah, blah, blah. And they currently hold the record for the humans being furthest away from the Earth. Well, if Artemis 2 does what they're thinking it's going to do, this will set a new record. It's also the first non-American, non-USA person to go out that far with a Canadian astronaut, the first person of color to go out that far with a person of color astronaut, and the first woman to go out that far with a woman astronaut on board. So I'm, of course, following this mission very closely as Artemis is on their way to do this swing around. Yeah, that's my nerd coming out. Hey, also, we know what this weekend is, don't we? Tomorrow is Easter, Resurrection Day. People celebrate this in a variety of ways, including hunting for Easter eggs and getting together and having meals together as family. It's also an opportunity for those of us who look forward to a time in church, time to celebrate what this holiday is originally about, which was the resurrection of Jesus. And if that is part of your belief system, you know this is a very, very special weekend for you as well. He is risen indeed, Shalane. Yeah, special. We also have some birthdays coming up this week I want to mention. Aditi Howison Crawford, the wife of the laird of the Crawfordland estate and the Crawford clan, celebrating a birthday today. Aditi, happy birthday. As you may recall, Aditi and her husband Simon, the laird of the Crawford clan, were on this show a few months back. Aditi celebrating today. Happy, happy birthday. Another special birthday, Carissa Wheelock, who is our director on this show, but also my daughter, celebrating a birthday on April 7th. You know, the year she was born, April 7th of her birth year was Easter Sunday. Easter, of course, shifts not always on the same date. And Shalane, sorry, Carissa. Carissa was actually born on Easter Sunday, but April 7th is her birthday, and we celebrate that with her. And then also Izzy Stein, another dear friend and friend of the show, celebrating a birthday on April 9th. So we want to wish all of those folks a happy birthday, happy week, happy month of celebration. And do you have a special day this week? Maybe you have a birthday, you have an anniversary, you celebrate a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, or it's a special, you're retiring from your career, something special happening this week for you or a close someone in your family or a dear one of yours, and you want to share it with us, you could. Tis the opposite of the classic Carissa. Yeah, that's right. And you want to share that with us. Sorry, I get distracted when I glance at the updates here. I like Rick's comment too. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself because I see the comments in the chat, which I want you to still putting up there. Anyway, if you have a special day this week that you'd like us to celebrate with you, please put that in the chat so we know that and can celebrate that with you. If you have one coming up in sometime later in April or in the coming months, you want to make sure we get it on our calendar so that we can celebrate with you send us an email, please, at cbwsteve@comcast.net so that we can get a hold of that date and that special event for you. Put it on our calendar and make sure that we celebrate with you at the proper time. All right, listen, I want to get to our guest today and share with you just a little bit about her and about the upcoming conversation. Deanna is a lifelong performer and a musician who was born in Winnipeg, Canada, but has lived in South Dakota, Ontario, Texas, and now Washington State. Though she earned 2 degrees in vocal performance academically, Deanna has made a living as, and I have to take a big breath here, a singer, violinist, chorister, Dickens caroler, session singer or violinist for recordings, stage actor, screen film commercial actor, voiceover artist, audiobook narrator, vocal coach, music teacher, puppeteer, children's theater actor, and princess party princess as both Elsa and Rapunzel. She now lives in Spokane, Washington, and performs a live show twice every week on YouTube and Twitch, playing and singing requests out of a repertoire of over 400 songs in every genre. Just a fascinating individual and a great conversation. Here is my conversation with Violin Elf, and I really want you to make sure you participate in the chat, ask your questions, make your comments, learn some of the very special things that Deanna has to share. Deanna, welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve. It's good to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Steve. It is a delight to be here.
I always think it's interesting to, when we're talking to people who have a story to tell, to talk a little bit about early days, about beginnings. Can you share a little bit about what first sparked your interest in the work that you're doing today?
Yes, thank you. Right now, my chief thing that I'm doing is live streaming music. And the best way to describe it is like I'm a busker, or a street musician, but online. That is the easiest and shortest way to describe it. Yeah. And it wasn't something that I ever pictured myself doing. However, it kind of became a natural thing, just with a combination of how my life had gone up until COVID, basically. And it was suggested to me by people who were already on a platform that was for watching video games being played called Twitch. Mm-hmm. And we knew some streamers. And he said, hey, during COVID, a whole bunch of musicians have joined Twitch because musicians had nowhere to be, nowhere to perform because no one was allowed to go anywhere. Right. And I thought, I wonder, because I had a little bit of experience playing in public at Renaissance fairs and Comic-Con kind of conventions. And that had just oh, this is it. This is my purpose of being born. I love this. And that was a way of, well, I can do that. And it's much safer than standing at the Space Needle or something. Yeah. So it really appealed to me. And then, oh boy, I mean, all I had to do was learn 19 different pieces of software, and that's all. Easy peasy. But now I've been doing it for about 3 years, and I just love it more and more. I'm feeling like having my own show is the best thing ever, and I love it. And I'm finally being able to collaborate with other musicians that I'm meeting along the way. So other streamers, other musicians. I just finished a collab with a musician in Germany. I've written quite a bit of music with a composer in Norway for a video game. Just really this. I did not realize that being a busker online could really open this kind of wonder and delight. And I just could not be more thrilled. I accidentally found out what I'm supposed to do. Yay.
That's a great discovery. You do a variety of things as a musician. You play the violin, you sing. Are there other things that go along with that are part of your performance repertoire?
I think so, only because I feel like there's been just a wild array of tools added to my toolbox my whole life, not really understanding what I was made to do, really, other than be kind of a cartoon. I don't know. I loved doing funny voices ever since I was born. My dad and I would watch Bugs Bunny, and he could do any voice, any accent when he would read bedtime stories. So that was just like, I will do this too. This is how you live life, is you do funny voices and you make people laugh. And then, yes, all of the, I got into acting after after getting a bunch of degrees in music and moving around so much. But yeah, when you're an actor, then you get used to rolling with the punches and improvisation and what's the audience doing, and oops, this happened on stage, so what do we do now? And so that really prepared me for a live interaction online. And then, yeah, a discovery of, oh, well, I sure love costumes. So I have right here in this room a collection of hats and crowns and face wear that go along with certain songs. So that will definitely be part of things. So yeah, I hope I've answered the question. Yes, there's music, but there's also like whatever costuming, whatever funny voices, accents, and then I don't know. I like to communicate, but I also love to delight and surprise. So my favorite thing is when someone comes to my stream, and because I wear elf ears for my live shows, just online shows, I am just to let everyone know, I am capable of performing as a human and not an elf, like today.
Yeah. How old were you when you began exploring some of these performance areas, violin and even singing? Did things kind of happen at once at an early age, or was there a sort of a building upon different skill sets and different talents?
Yes, it's such a wonderful question. I thought that performing was something everyone did because that's how I came into the world. My parents met on a singing group. It was a combination US and Canada, like from a seminary. And so they would just scan like any college kids from anywhere want to help us advertise the seminary. And then they would meet together, learn a bunch of music, and then tour around the United States and Canada for like 9 months. And that's where my parents met. So very, very musical, very, very good at performing. They did skits together as well, like for people's weddings and things like that. And when I was born, I just joined them. That was just what we did. And there's a picture of me singing at someone's wedding. I was 2.5. I stood on a chair. I held the microphone and it was just, well, I'm here to sing. Okay. Hit it, Mom.
Wasn't even a question. This is just what you do.
Exactly. So there was no such thing as being afraid of it. I think it was so natural, but it wasn't anyone's job in my life. So I didn't really think of it as a career. It was just, this is how you amuse yourself when you're not at your job. So yeah, I was introduced to the violin at age 8, and in school they offered a class. A nice Russian man would come to the school early in the morning, 7:30 or something, once a week. And there were like 6 or 7 of us. And I got my little rental violin and whatever. So it was fun, but I don't think I was very serious about it. I would hear him talk about, well, professional violinists practice 5 hours a day. I thought, oh, well, that'll never be me. Sorry. Enjoy yourself. Like, I just didn't, that didn't sound that fun. I don't know. And I really did not consider it being a career. When I went to a high school, it was very competitive, very academic. So by the time I graduated and I had canvassed all of my teachers, like, what do you think I should major in? What do you think I should do? All of my classmates were going into law, into medicine, into architecture, like things, very professional things.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I have to do that. So I majored in sciences as well. I just thought I have to, obviously. And after my whole first year of university and going, oh, I don't want to do this. I changed my major to music.
Okay.
So, yeah. There was a lot of music, a lot of performing, always. It was never not there. I just didn't quite understand how to claim it as like a viable career. And I don't know. No one was telling me, oh, don't major in music. Like, no one was telling me that. And I don't think I really felt like, oh, if I major in music, everyone will think I'm stupid or something like that. It was more, well, these are my grades. Surely I should go into those fields. And yeah, I was trying to be wise or use my full potential or whatever I thought I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I did end up with 2 music degrees and then changed countries because I married some. I am Canadian. I went to the school in the States, married a Canadian, and so moved back to Canada. Lost all my connections or networking or whatever I would have done. So that's how I got into acting, was because that was the easiest thing to audition for. Was just, oh, they're doing a show or they're doing this or that, and it's portable. You know, as you move around, you can always just audition for something somewhere.
Right.
And yeah, sang in a lot of choirs, a lot of different things.
When you were first pursuing the career side of your performance capabilities, were there challenges? I mean, you talk about it, to hear you talk about it here, it was just something that flowed very naturally. But were there challenges along the way? And if so, what were those and how did you work to overcome them?
Well, I guess ending up with 2 degrees and no connections and no direction at all. I think your prep question had phrased it, you know, when you realized performance was the path. And my gut response is like, there is no path, like realizing there is no path. You get a bunch of degrees and it's like, okay, well, they just pat you on the bottom and send you on your way. And I mean, I had no plans to move to New York or LA or kind of the obvious, you're a performer, here's where you should go. And I didn't think of myself as an actor. So I just thought, oh, no. I'd been around the musical theater people at school and I didn't recognize myself in them. I thought, I'm not like that. I don't know. I do a lot of the theater things, but I'm more of a musician, I think. But yeah, so realizing there was no path and just kind of, I feel that's been my whole life, is knock on every door. One of them might open. Who knows? And that's very much how I've had to do it, which the challenge is that is feeling purposeless, is feeling like, was I a mistake? I've got such a weird collection of skills and abilities, but it's like a piece of Lego and a broken Barbie head and a screwdriver for some reason. And oh no, like, I don't know what any of this is for. And it doesn't fit anywhere. And yeah, like I wasn't a clear fit for a bunch of things. I got a ton of musical theater roles. I really did. Any show I auditioned for, I got to do, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm so happy. I got to be Maria in The Sound of Music, and I got to be in a whole bunch of musicals that I enjoyed and loved. And yet that never led to anything. It wasn't like, oh, I'll be discovered or something like that. And yeah, even then I wanted to be known for my voice. And that was very, like, in the acting world, they're sort of like, oh yeah, you can sing, great. So yeah, I never, that was the challenge, was what am I? Who am I enough? Am I too much? What's going on?
Right.
And just feeling like I never had an answer for, so what do you do? Because that just wears on you after a while, where just, what are you? A failure, I guess? I don't know. Because I could never point to anything to say, oh yeah, I'm a real person with a career. No. That's not a thing. And yeah, would I have done it all again or whatever? The way that I'm old enough now to just look back and say, God gave me a husband with a job. So that's how my life has gone. I have been blessed in that way, so that I did not have to worry about, how do I take these skills and pay rent? That was not part of my challenge. My challenge was all internal, of how do I give an account for my existence? So it was much, much deeper and much more existential than just, how are you going to survive, stupid girl with a music degree? It wasn't that. It was, please explain to me why you deserve oxygen and why you deserve to be
Wow.
here. What are you doing? So it was more like that. And I've very, very, very much plumbed the depths of all of the despair and depression and things like that, to just, how do you explain who you are and why you are, and to struggle with that day after day after day for years and years and years and never have a good answer. That's super, super tough. So yeah, now that I have a little bit of a way to say, yeah, I don't know if I still have a good answer for that, but I know that people receive value from what I'm doing. So that's going to just have to be enough for today.
Yes.
And yeah, I sell dopamine.
Yeah, right. There you go. Who are your influences, Deanna, when you think about whether it's playing violin, singing, acting? Are there people that you look toward that have been for you an encouragement and inspiration? And it's not necessarily that we want to imitate other people's style, but are there people who you have found yourself wanting to emulate in any way?
Yes. Definitely. As far as like singing or music, I did have an aunt who, again, it couldn't have been called her job, but she had records. She had vinyl records, and she toured a few different places in Canada. So I did have that to go, okay, that is a real thing. And then when I was in university and managed to change my major to music, I heard for the first time, kind of in my music history repertoire that we had to study, it was called early music and like Renaissance music. And there was a singer called Emma Kirkby. She's from the UK. And I heard her voice and I went, oh, she sounds like me and she has a job. Okay. Because in hearing opera and things like that, I just thought, I don't sound like that. Uh-oh. Is any teacher going to just sit me down one day and go, so you should probably go back to science. Anyway, so that was like encouraging. And then as a kid, if you've ever heard of Victor Borga, he was a musical comedian.
Yeah.
He was always featured on those PBS pledge drives. And I didn't know how I wanted to emulate that, but that's definitely stuck in me. I did get to see him live one day. He was coming to my city and I asked for tickets for my birthday and I received them, which is a very, very big deal for my family. And I took a friend and we went to see Victor Borga and he did his verbal punctuation live. And I was in the front row, I think. So yeah, just amazing.
That's great.
But that idea of communication. So I admire any musician that communicates. So whether or not they are a celebrated prodigy or they can play the fastest or they are this or that, it's more this person through what they are doing is able to capture their audience and have a group experience that everyone leaves better for it. And maybe that sounds really lofty, but anytime I'm at a concert that does that, it's like, there it is. That's what I want. I want to be able to give that to people. Whatever that costs, whatever that involves, I want to do that and give that to people. So that's when I notice. And yes, I have to mention Lindsay Sterling because I feel like I know she's the violinist that kind of broke open the door of solo violinist, but she de-snobbed it for the world.
Right.
Of like, I'm going to dance around. I'm going to be zany. I'm going to play video game songs. So take your orchestra and your academic and whatever. That's fine. I'm doing this. And, she's enormously successful. And I've been in live concerts of hers numerous times to understand what she gives her audience. And it is exactly that. It's like we are all on her journey, whatever it is she's communicating. And yeah, so huge influence. But yeah, I also listed, I'm like, about 1,000 comedy groups and comedy troupes and comedy shows and comedians.
Yeah. It's all part of it. You mentioned earlier wearing the elf ears and the costumes and Renaissance fairs. And on your title right there on the screen,
Yes.
it says Violin Elf.
Mhm.
And I would like you to share just a little bit about how that, we'll say alter ego, and for lack of a better term,
Sure.
is a part of who you are and what you do.
Thanks. My husband started going to like costume conventions, Comic-Con, so cosplay. You wear a costume and you go, and I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's just kind of all of the franchises, whatever movie you're into, whatever cartoon, but thousands and thousands and thousands of people attend this thing and wear their costumes. And it has really become more and more and more popular throughout the years. So he really got into that because of a friend of his. And then he wanted me to go, and I was like, usually somebody pays me to be in a costume. Like, I don't know. But so I kind of had a snobby attitude about it. But in joining him and just understanding, okay, I think I get it. This is fun. And when you are in that setting, everyone has this feeling of anything can happen. There's usually a bunch of celebrities there. So people stand in line to meet their favorite celebrity, and then they are just on cloud nine. You'll see a panel of people. You'll learn how to make a costume out of foam. So it's very much a celebration of crafting, costuming, characters, storytelling, because it's like usually comic books or movies or stories of some kind. So just a creative extravaganza. And in walking around one of those, we saw a dress. There was a leather shop. They had a dress on a mannequin. The lady asked me, would you like to try it on? And I said, okay. And she gets this on. It has laces and buckles and I don't know. And then she starts putting other things on me, belts and bow and arrow and quiver. And and I was like, well, I don't know how to get any of this off. So I guess I'll have to buy it. What a strategic lady.
Yeah. She knew how to approach that.
Right. But this is very, very cool dress. I had it on the rest of that day. I left the convention wearing it. That was it. And when we attended our next convention, my husband looks at me, he goes, you know what it needs? Elf ears. Like, you look like you should be in the Lord of the Rings. I was like, okay. And for whatever reason, I chose the wrong ears. Like, they're not Lord of the Rings. They stick out really far, and kind of went, but I like them. I think they look good on me. So a combination of suggestion and mistake and just me being my own special self, that's where the character came from. And then one of the years, instead of my quiver, I thought, you know what if I carry my violin and just walk around playing? Where did this idea come from? I don't really know. I guess, a little bit Lindsay Sterling, a little bit like, well, unless someone tells me no, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
If they tell me no, they tell me no. I'll put it in the car, whatever. And boy, was that fun. I had, I don't know, 5 songs that I had memorized, like nothing extravagant, but walking around and then just people's reaction to, is that a real elf? Like, because little girls would ask, is that a real elf? And their parents, who are like properly trained, would be like, yes, honey. Would you like your picture with her? Yeah. So you try to keep the magic alive and everything. So whatever, that's where that character initially came from. But it really was when it came time to, okay, what kind of show do I want to put together? I was like, I want to recreate that feeling. I want to recreate the feeling of being at a Renaissance fair in my full costume, and the setting that people, where everyone has the attitude of anything could happen any minute. And as much as I can, like, I know I'm in a little bedroom with a set that is supposed to look like the forest and whatever. And you never know what you're going to get. You can tune in and I'm wearing a pirate hat and what's even going on here. But I love the reaction of, well, this is not what I was expecting today. Like, I know, happy Monday. Here's an elf in a pirate hat. Isn't that what you wanted? And so when people are at work or whatever they're doing and watching my show, they're just like, yeah, well, there she goes. So that's essentially what I'm trying to provide is, I I guess, the radio show of yesteryear, where you're just sort of, you're doing your thing, you have this on in the background, and whatever's going on, it's like, well, at least somebody in the world is not stressed out. Someone in the world is having a wonderful time. I can be involved if I want or not. I can join the chat and make puns and jokes with everybody else, or just sit back and enjoy whatever's happening. Because if I don't like this genre, she's bound to go to a completely different genre the next song. So yeah, I that's where that comes from, is an appreciation for wonder and delight, and just that little bit of unexpected magic of, why are you dressed as an elf? And like, I don't know, I just wanted to. But I do every single show. I've done 3 years of shows twice a week, and I have been an elf every single show.
Yeah. You talked earlier about that process of sort of finding identity, and I'm wondering now if you can share a little bit now, as the years have gone by and you've been doing a lot of this in various ways, different times, different ways, what your experiences have taught you about yourself.
Yeah, I will answer exactly that. That entertainment has value to people, and I have value as an entertainer. Just that my desire to, it's like, I want to delight people. I want to make them laugh. And I no longer see that as a diagnosis or a pathology, like you just want attention. It's like, I don't think that's what it is. I think I have a longing to give people what I have. I think that's what I've got. So it's not something terrible. It's not something I should be in therapy to work through, so that I could you just shut up and go be a doctor? It's like, I think this is my way of giving the world what it is that I have. Is I have entertainment, and I will give that to you. I will be a fresh source of it. For 3 years, I'm not getting tired of it. I feel like I'm spooling up and getting more and more ideas. Oh, we could try this. Oh, we could try that. And so that's what I feel. Is like, I finally don't feel bad about it. I think I'm a performer, and no, no apology, no, no wash of embarrassment, and yeah.
That's good. Where can people find you? Whether it's you said, when you do live performances, not as an elf, but you also have that presence online. Where are the various places that people can find you and find information about you?
Thank you for asking that. The easiest way is, well, first of all, everyone's heard of YouTube. So YouTube, and if you put in Violin Elf, my channel will come up. And then there's going to be quite a few different ways of communicating with me if you like. There isn't an email address, but there's the Discord, and there's an Instagram, and there's whatever. And I do respond to people's messages. So whether it is however you want to try to communicate with me, a lot of those different ways will probably work. And yeah, they're all under Violin Elf, just because I felt like that's going to be the best way for people to remember. Is she that girl that plays the violin and she has elf ears? What was she called? Elf violin something? I thought, let's just be very on the nose. Violin Elf. Ta-da! So, and yeah.
Very good.
Like,
and we will share
my
that.
My first name is not a mystery, but it's just easy to remember.
That's the easy way to do it. We will be sharing that information here so that people can grab that and make sure that they look you up and subscribe to your YouTube channel, and find you on Twitch, find you on the various places that you are present. Deanna, I want to take just a moment here to say very much thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today. And I also want to thank you for being willing to embrace that identity as a performer and to bring the things into the world that do touch lives. I've had the opportunity both live and online to experience that, and I can validate the fact that it does does happen in a very positive way, and you are touching life. So thank you very much for making that difference in the world.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for that affirmation, confirmation. I really appreciate it. And thank you again for approaching me after one of the live performances.
Yeah.
I'm so delighted to have met you, and I really commend you for this type of, you're a puzzle piece. You kind of, well, let's connect these people with those people, and let's celebrate this category and that category, and show everybody, yeah, we're all doing life, and we're all kind of trying to connect with each other, even in the digital age. And it does not have to be impossible. So I really appreciate your willingness to connect people and do what you're doing. So
absolutely. Thank you. We'll wish you all the best.
Yes.
Great conversation. I'm still, even going back, look, I met Deanna as she was performing as herself at a concert that was in the St. Patrick's Day time frame, and just was so impressed and so intrigued without knowing all of the Violin Elf elements. I went up and spoke to her after the concert, and we communicated and set up this time to chat and to record this. And I even watching it again, I'm impressed, I'm motivated, I am positively influenced. So thank you, Deanna. I want to share something with you. I know we're getting short on time. Please stick with us, because I want you to have an opportunity to experience Deanna's talent as in one aspect of what she does as a violinist. Just take a few minutes to watch this. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Listen, I want to share just a couple of things that are coming up in the next few weeks. And thank you for sticking with us for a little bit extra today. But next week is our huge 7th anniversary special celebration. We have been on the air now as we're coming into this time of April for 7 years with Coffee Breaks with Steve. And we've got some special things planned for next week, some announcements about what's going to be coming up in our 8th season. And we really would love for you to be here and be part of the celebration. Share that with others around you. We're going to be sharing some messages, I believe, from some of our friends as well during that. So please be a part of that. Just also coming up in a couple of weeks, Shalane and Carissa are going to be here, and they're going to be figuring out what their topic is. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know for sure everything that's happening next week. So listen, I'm just sometimes along for the ride. But Carissa and Shalane will be here as the guest hosts on the 18th, and that's always a lot of fun. And then on the 25th, we're going to have another very special musician here to share with us. Kathleen Kinney, who is a harpist, is going to join us. Another amazing musician I met recently, and will be here on the 25th of April. So you will not want to miss that. What are the topics you'd like to discuss? Who are the guests you'd like to see? Can you email us at cbwsteve@comcast.net to share your ideas? By the way, one of the things we're going to be talking about further next week, and I'll just tease it right now, is we're coming up with some special ways to reward those of you who do get us connected to a guest for Coffee Breaks with Steve, get a topic to us that we put on the air. We're going to be making that even extra special for you. So be back next week to hear about that. And then a reminder that we have that YouTube channel. It's also called Coffee Breaks with Steve. And if you are not already a subscriber, would you please take the time to go there and subscribe? Would you become a subscriber to our channel, like our videos? Why? Not because I'm looking to get famous off of this, but because think about how many people would be inspired, motivated, love to hear Deanna's story, find out what the journey is that she has been on as an artist and as an individual. So many of our guests, so many of our topics over the years have shared so many great stories. And I would love to have more people in this world hear those stories, see those stories, and be inspired by those people. We've touched lives through YouTube, and it does make a difference for people. So please, if you're already a subscriber, would you share our channel with others so that we get more people in there? It just raises our visibility higher on YouTube. And it means that more people are going to hear stories like Deanna's. They're going to be able to be motivated by that. There's my pitch, and that's all I need to say about that. Listen, I do want to one more time say thank you to Deanna, Violin Elf, for taking the time to be here to share your story. So inspiring and so much appreciated for all of us. There's so much going on in the world around us, so many things that we get passionate about. You heard it from Deanna today, things that we can get passionate about. How do we share who we are? How do we share the things that we feel most passionate about, that call to us, that say, I can touch lives? So please think about that and find a way to make a difference in your world this week. God bless you. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Coffee Breaks with Steve.